Hey everyone, Internet PCS book reader here. Today I want to talk about Invisible Woman by Caroline Criado Perez. I'm currently reading the Southern Reach series and I just finished the second book in the series. Usually I finish them first before reading anything else, but the second book had such a nosedive quality that I want to cleanse my palate with a non-fiction. For tens of thousands of years, the world was built by men and for men. And a lot of us get so used to it even when it doesn't make sense that every time there is a challenge to those ideas, there are always pushback forming group like anti-feminist or its larger umbrella, anti-woke. But this view that only see the world in the lens of men do have their real life consequences, like in medical field for example. Because there were a time when men are the only ones allowed to be doctors because women was viewed as dirty, when they were finally allowed to get a job, woman was at that point was already viewed as more prone to emotional outbursts called hysteria and has weaker pain threshold, which is not true at all. And as a result, when women go to doctor, they were at times not treated seriously, thinking they're over-exaggerating or overreacting to symptoms of their sickness. And this can and have resulted in that. And while it has gotten better incomparably, it is still something that unfortunately still happens even now. The author called this problem as problem caused by data gap or gender data gap, and medical is not the only field where this data gaps exist. From the early era of hunter-gatherer to Vikings, a lot of evidence has showed that hunters and warriors are not male-only occupation back then. Painting and bones have been tested and verified that there are warriors like the Birkin warrior in Viking, women that fought alongside men in the past. But there are always naysayers that are trying to move the goalpost to deny that women fought in the past like it somehow makes men less men if there are women in Viking armies. After long evidence like the Scythia graves that are located in Ukraine to Central Asia area that shows that 37% of the battle wounded bones are women's bones, and still people refuse to see otherwise. The book definitely starts a bit weak because it opened by words and of vocabulary which unfortunately your average debate bros has made into such an annoying pedantic thing to do, but it do give you some ideas of how much ingrained it is that when we are talking about human, it is often talking about men by default. It also opened up the conversation about how in medias, it is often a space that are still dedicated to men that when someone made a media that are for women, there are a lot of anger toward that piece of media. It's the cultural war nonsense that usually come from the manosphere or manosphere adjacent people like the degenerate chronically online gamers. I have to mention that some of this anger that come to media mention are just from it being badly made. The new Star Wars trilogy that is infamous for suddenly Palpatine has returned is just bad media, and while a lot of the anger shown to it is from the degenerate chronically online men, a lot of it is also just because it is bad storytelling. But it doesn't change that in media there are some dumbasses that claims that there are not enough sexy women in games like the hundreds of years of sexy fake women in game and uncountable more sexy pixel being made are just gone because of a few games where the women are not sexy. Also in media analysis like literature and composing, women for some reason are often sidelined in the conversation when it comes to taking their work seriously in academia. Like they are not influential enough, which is very disingenuous since it's also a field where it was once gatekept so hard so only men can have access to them. In music for example, at first they were not allowed to touch any musical instrument. Once they were folk and once women fought for it, women then finally allowed to do them only as hobbies for the ladies. Then once women can finally make music as a job, doors to award and recognition was closed for women. The goalposts just keep moving ridiculously, and having no or very limited media analysis of women's work in academic setting is just another one of this never-ending gatekeeping project. And it affected things not just in entertainment industry, it's just very noticeable there. But in real life, we see this effect resulted in weird male identity driven project. Brexit, Trump, ISIS, Taliban, etc. are some of the most easy recent examples. We can especially see this in the most recent Trump election win where most white male, which is the majority of population in America, voted for Donald Trump, resulting in his win pushed by American white men. It's because they cannot see that men's point of view is as much an ideology as women's point of view. Instead, they see men's point of view as common sense and female perspective as only a feminist ideology. The same people who voted against Hillary Clinton in 2016, crying about how her campaign was based on identity politics, are the same people who voted against Kamala Harris even when Kamala are more vocal about her policies, because that's how easily triggered men can be when faced against the idea of women. So they voted for their favorite identity politic, white male. But they did not see this as a problem because they did not see whiteness or maleness as identity. They only see non-white, non-male as identities, even though white and male is as much an identity as black and female. This is the gender data gap when male is seen as universal while women become invisible and seen as a mysterious unknown threat. Even though overall it benefits everyone when these data gaps are properly dealt with, in Sweden for example, they were in a meeting because they have some gender equality initiative. In this meeting, someone made a joke that at least there will be no gender people over snow clearing. And because of that joke, they decided to check snow clearing and found that there is a problem with it. Sweden made snow clearing schedule based on only the path of men going to work and coming home from work, but women, even working women, goes on a lot of trip chaining, taking their child to school or their old parents to where they needed to, or shopping for daily needs. And because of this, they changed their clearing schedule to pedestrian and public transport, which ends up saving them millions because traffic got so much clearer, production then got so much better, and there are less need of healthcare from reduced injuries from the snow. The book shows a lot of evidence of when road planning was made with the idea of making life easier for women, it benefited everyone, not just women. Which makes sense since the problem that was ignored previously is then taken care of when you actually plan for everyone. Just because a lot of men, especially liberal and fascist men, are choosing to ignore it, it doesn't mean the existing problem won't affect us too. Vienna and its urban planning by Eva Kyle is maybe one of the best examples of how focusing on city planning with gender-related ideas benefit the city so much, and it also made them so much safer because unfortunately public spaces like transport, toilet, or even parks are much more dangerous for women compared to men. There are even places where sexual harassment has been normalized in a lot of areas that makes it harder to combat them, not even when those sexual harassment sometimes turns into rape. And again, there is benefit to everyone when those public spaces was made safer and more welcoming for women. There are more productive time where they can do more, and in the case of park, girls who exercise earlier before puberty are more physically and mentally healthy. There is data that we got from Vienna and Stockholm, Sweden that shows there is economic incentive that benefit everyone if calling to people's kindness is not enough. It is unfortunate that we made it into a habit to downplay and undervalue the unpaid work that women do in life, like taking care of their family, cooking, feeding, cleaning, etc. And it's a job that often goes beyond her core family, sometimes even having to take care of sick parents that have something like dementia. Historically, it shows how essential this work is. In Iceland 1975, women strike where they don't do all those unpaid work for a day and the country just stopped working. A lesson that they did not ignore and kept making their country very gender sensitive and making them become #1 in global peace index right now. But that's Iceland. In other places, we still continue to underappreciate a lot of this unpaid work to the point that even when women also contribute to the workforce of a household, which become more and more of a necessity nowadays due to post-capitalism, women are still the one who usually took the brunt of unpaid work at home while the men can do their leisure time. And workplace itself has been infamous for treating women unfairly. Almost universally, women's need was often ignored. Then in various places, there are gender bias that makes it harder for women to advance with their career. Instead of ambitious, women are called mean. Then in academia, it is easier for women's lead study to be published when it is done in double blind when the examiner didn't know who the author is. In school, if a woman teacher teaches feminism in one class out of 10 class, then she either only teaches feminism or talks about it too much. And as if trying to prove how much men is the default in this environment, often instead of fixing the problem that plague women there are always people that is trying to fix the women, change them to be more like men even when it doesn't make sense. Being, for example, is different between men and women, and women are shamed so much more for being in public compared to men. But some work uniform make it so much harder for women to be. And sometimes it is bigger and more literal life and death problem. Because of the lack of chemical study on female body, some chemical we found relate that it gave women breast cancer, which can and has killed plenty of women. Or even workplace harassment that can turn into violence. In healthcare, if you look at the data, women had to deal with so much. Sometimes they were beaten for no reason at all by people who have anger issues. Coding, who used to be solely a job for women, was gatekept so hard that it became the current Silicon Valley, where it is mostly antisocial men. And a lot of the products that he created that automate a ton of things are also filled with these biases because of their ignorance to the issue. Like when Siri doesn't know what rape is, and a whole lot of other things that are so much more messy and dangerous since this program can amplify these biases. And with a lot of automatic system being more normal, there will be a lot of places where it can be dangerous. In medical, where as I mentioned at the start, some doctor can still blame hysteria or pregnancy for women's sickness, tons of them still have no idea how different the anatomy between women and men. It's not just a couple of organs are different. It's all of them, even the heart and lungs. But despite this, some medical books omit depiction of female body anatomy. Medical books meant to help save both genders. And even worse, medical trial tends to ignore women's existence while doing clinical drug trial, usually to save money or to make the study less complicated, which I think just means that they're too dumb to do the study in the first place, but I digress. And this have real-world effect where drugs that have only been tested on men harm women. Some have even caused them excessive bleeding and cardiac arrest. This is when heart attack is already a problem for women, where it is easier for them to get one due to the average working combination between work and unpaid work, and how symptoms of a heart attack in women is different than the cliché depiction of how men usually have them. And this is still diseases that are not gender specific. In cases of disease that only affected women like endometriosis, where the lining of the uterus grows outside of it causing intense pain and can lead to cancer, is still such a hard disease to get diagnosis, even though it is not a rare disease at all. It affected 1 out of 10 women. There are so much unfairness that women specifically had to face that still is being ignored a lot of the time, and these are still taking a lot about women in society where everything kind of works. If we go to places where there are disaster, war, genocide, it got so much worse because there are women-specific crimes that absolutely harm them because of their gender that sometimes change the culture of the place to make life more miserable for them. But it is still so hard for some people to take this kind of issue seriously. Part of why I want to highlight this book is because often there are more chances of people actually finding these stories credible when it comes from a man's voice, as if a dick is a magic wand I can wear to make myself more believable, which is crazy if you think about it. I still highly recommend this book even if you're not a woman, or maybe even more, because books like this is a good read to make sure that men like me can self-reflect about their place in the world. I give this a 4.5. What do you think? Let me know if I missed anything, so leave your thoughts in the comment below and subscribe to the channel. That's about it. See ya.